let's get back to it. We were working on our scenario 1, making sure. So we're gonna make survivors fall, right? So because we don't have gravity, because we've not needed gravity, and that would just be a complication. We just rely on the fact that pathfinding knows where the ground is, and so path finds up and down if there is any kind of slope, right? So we don't need gravity, but that means if we destroy the car, the survivor needs to be on the ground. Otherwise, the zombie can't get at him, and that would be too easy if we just had our survivors flying around. So, back to this. What we need to do is we're going to create a new extend script. So we're going to, let's see. Do we want to put all of our scenario scripts inside of stages scenarios? I think so. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so what this does is that it makes a new script file for us, and it extends the base script, right? So all the stuff that's in stage scenario is effectively also in this script, right? So all the functions that this scenario needs, but like if we hover over here, you can see that now the script that's attached to this scene, the top node of the scene is scenario1.gd. So then what we can do is we can create a function called car destroyed, right? Damage source. Sure. This is not how we do things here. We do my logger. We do something like that. Okay. So we have that. And then what we want to do is we want to change the health here. We're going to edit this, and we're going to not do advanced, and then we're going to select the top node here, and we're going to pick the method that we just defined. Are destroyed. There we go. Connect. Right. So when the health component registers that the thing that it's responsible for the health of, the muscle car, is destroyed, this method is called. And then we want to do a couple of things. So one of the things we need to do is we need to say, let's see, onReady var car, and this is going to be, we called it muscle car. CLE muscle car. Yep. One of the things we can do here is we can say car.queueFree. So that will do this. So this will do exactly the thing that we just had. But we need to do more than that, right? So we need our survivor as well. The survivor is a node 3D, just like the muscle car is a node 3D. So we're just like saying that, yes, the type of the thing that's inside of this variable is a node 3D. Of course, the node is actually at this path, right? So from this node, there's a node directly inside of it called survivor1. Like if we had like multiple survivors and we wanted to have a node that contained all of the survivors, then it would be something like, $survivors slash. Yeah, I think that's how that goes. But it's not. This is the way we currently have this set up. Now what we want to do is we need to lower the survivor to be on the ground. Now there's lots of fancy things we could probably do, but maybe we just set the Y to be 0. Is that too low? Is that too high? Do we... I don't think we should hard code this. So let's do this. So we're going to do a var survivor fall y. Except it's not going to be 0. It's going to be whatever the number was that we just saw here. Negative 0.075. What is the other annotation that we can do? Oh yeah, export. So export will make it so that when we look at... Also, let me put this value back. There we go. So now the survivor is standing roughly on the car roof. There we go. That's a little better. So when we look at this node now, you can see that value is here. So I can adjust it without having to go into the code. Okay, so then really all we need to do is let's add some comments, right? So this is not what this comments is. This has nothing to do with what we're doing right now. Remove the car from the scene since it's destroyed. Then we need to make the survivor fall down. So yeah, I think we want to do something like this. We want to create a tween. And then what on earth is it doing? Okay. Do we believe this is correct? So tween property takes an object, a property, and a final value, and a duration. So if we're gonna have a value, let's export it. Right? There we go. Can we... What does as relative do? When called, the final value will be used as a relative value instead. When called, the final value will be used as a relative value instead, right? So if we say, so this one is vector 2 right 100. So this is a vector in one direction 100 units. Right, so instead of it being absolute, it's relative. So as it turns out, this is not relative though. At least, should it be? Should it be? At least right now it's not. So we're just gonna do that. And then what does set transition do? Apparently nothing. We might have to go look at the tween docs. In fact, let's do that. It's been a while since I pulled up Godot docs. Tween. Tween is a lightweight object used for general purpose animations via script using tweeners. Right, so basically, like this says, we want the survivor to go from being at its current position to being at a new position, but we're only changing the y value. It could be a vector. We could like move it in 3 dimensions at the same time, but we're only changing y. And we want to have it interpolate, that is, go from one value to another value over a period of time. And that's what tweening is. So you can either use scenetree.createTween or node.createTween. Tweens are created manually, are invalid, and can't be used for tweening values. So you can't use tween.new. So this is what we're doing: get tree, create tween, tween property. Oh, this is actually a really cool example. So I think what this is doing, yeah. So at first it does this, and then it does this, and then it does this. It's pretty cool, right? So you can have it like turn red, and then shrink to 0, and then delete itself. Okay, so then the function, the method we were trying to hit was set trans. When a tweener is created with one of the tween methods, a chained method call can be used to tweak the properties of the tweener. Right? So when we're here, we can change the nature of how we interpolate between the two values, right? So the easiest thing to do is if we say we want to change from the current value to this target value over the course of half a second, which is what we're doing right now. That's what that 0.5 is. You can imagine what it does is it says, okay, well, we're doing X number of frames of rendering. So there are this many frames in half a second. So divide the amount of distance that needs to be moved by that number of frames, and each frame move at this amount of distance, right? So kind of just a linear interpolation. But you can do other things, and that's what set trans does. In fact, we could have fun by just exporting that value, and then we could set it dynamically in the editor. Although in this particular example, because I guess we could, what could we do? We could I mean, we could rig up a button or something that like resets the level without having to or we could just lower the health, and we could do things to make it so that the loop of seeing what happens is tighter. But it's linear interpolation is probably fine. Actually, some kind of like more. Let's look at the docs for set trans. What options do we have? Transition type, linear, sine, quint. Interpolated by bouncing at the end. Square roots, cubic, elastic, exponential. I wonder what this would look like. Okay. Second accepts an ease type constant and controls where the trans type is applied to the interpolation in the beginning, the end, or both. So when we use is this right? Translation Y as a way of addressing the Y component of the translation. Right, so we're using tween property. Find the correct property name by hovering over the property in the inspector. You can also provide the components of a property directly by using property : component, e.g. position X. Okay, great. So, ease in out exponential. Yeah. Okay. Where's exponential? Ease in exponential? Maybe ease in exponential. How do we do that? Set ease. What did I say? Ease in? Yeah, ease in. Okay, can we... It's a very long line. Okay. So, let's try this. Might want to think about relative audio levels of things. Oh. Cannot call method set trans on a null value. Interesting. Okay. This is we're not setting the right. Yeah, it's position. It's position. There you go. Oh yeah. So let's do one thing to speed this up a little bit. Let's go to health and temporarily just give it like 1 hit point. And then run this. Let's do 4x to get the zombie here sooner. Bam. Oops. What happened there? Let's see. So we can... Doesn't seem like we, Let's look at remote. We'll also look at the logs here in a second. I want to just look at the survivor first. Okay, so survivor here. Their Y position was not changed. Okay. So let's scroll up a little bit. A little bit. Car destroyed. There we go. So I don't see anything here in the logs, but maybe in the debugger. We can see some kind of error happened. No, this is all like stuff that happened at startup. Okay. So why didn't this work? What are we missing? Let's go back here. Is there something else we need to do? Am I tweening position to position Y? Right, so we're tweening just the Y element. Also, hello, Sapir. How's it going? Right, so just the Y component of position is being tweened to this value, which we know if the Y position of the survivor is set to this value, they'll be on the ground. Initial value and final val and span of time equal to param duration. Initial value by default is the property's value at the time of tweening. Yep. Okay, so this will move the sprite to position 100, 200, and then 200, 300. It's not relative. Property tweener from or from current. The starting position will be overridden by the given value instead. Boop, boop, boop. Right, so this is the absolute Y value we're trying to set. But it seems like that didn't happen. Instead, the Y value is still, well, it's 3.2029, which is interesting. So if we look at the survivor, 3.203. Okay. Seems like it was unchanged. Oh, that... Let's look at the survivor code. I have a thought. It's called target. So the survivors have their own pathfinding, right? Of a sort. Not really. They wander around. But I'm wondering if the wandering has some effects. Is this panic behavior? Let's look at local. Look at the scene for this and their panic behavior. Right? This script. Right. Okay, how does this work? So when we're ready, we get our current position and we set the current panic destination to be our current position. Get our animation player. Okay, so every frame we check for nearby enemies. So should panic, should be true. basically all the time in this situation. If we're not already panicking, we start panicking. Okay, otherwise we stop. If we are panicking, we update panic movement. Guess what that does? It probably changes our location. Target global position. So I wonder, maybe we do want to do a relative tween, right? Right, and so then this value should be whatever the current value is. Right, so this plus 7, 8. That's how much we need to fall, which would be a negative value, right? We want to fall downwards that amount. So then we say as relative. There we go. So I wonder if that will work. If that will like stack its I don't know. I suspect I think we might have to have something that reaches in and disables the panicking and then like resets it all. Let's find out. I suspect that when this runs, it will, in fact, not end up on the ground. And then what did Brainless say? What did you say there? I fixed the issue with the list not expand. Oh, for the Twitch follower favorites extension. It now checks every 15 seconds, expands as needed, and that should prevent favorite channels from being lost. Nice. Tried to push a new version today. Great. Sounds good. Okay, so okay, yeah, did you see that? Survivor did fall, but the panic behavior meant that it still had a target of where it was going to run to, and that doesn't know about gravity either. It's just like, oh, I already picked a place I was going to run to. I'm going to run to there. Okay, so how are we going to fix that? We essentially, like, a thing I wouldn't want to do is I wouldn't want to have our scenario script reach in to, oh, hey, good luck with the food. All of you talking about food. All I've had today is a fiber bar and my coffee. And need to get a little bit more done before we stop for lunch. I don't want to have the scenario script reach in through the target into its panic behavior component. But we need to do something. I guess I kind of wonder, should this live inside of the target? Like, we could have a function called fall in the target, So any survivor. Also, I'm going to use those words interchangeably because unfortunately, as of the current state of the code, we use the word target and the word survivor, and they're referring to the same thing because I didn't have the word survivor in mind when I started writing this. But I wonder if we want to like move this into this code. Why not just avoid setting the Y position in panic? That's a good question. Why not? It's not as if this knows anything about. Wait, how do we? Right. So because the intention for the survivors is they don't pathfind, right? They do not need to work around obstacles. They don't really, well, we do have a feature upcoming that they will need to go to places, so they will eventually, I guess, have pathfinding. The original intent was that the survivors basically, all of their function is to survive. So they won't really, besides running in circles, they don't run away, they don't hide or fight or anything like that. You, as the player, have to build defenses to protect them wherever they happen to be. So none of this takes advantage of any of the pathfinding stuff we have set up for the zombies. And so all we're doing here, let's see, where do we, is this the only place where we're setting global position? Yes. So we take the current position and we take our move amount and our direction and we add that to the current position. And then we take our current position and the direction and we look in that direction. So really what we need to do is we need to remove the Y component from direction. Yeah, that seems reasonable. Oh, hey, IDW. How's it going? Welcome. Just started your game dev learning. Here to learn. Well, that is exciting. Very exciting. I'm very excited for you. I'm happy. Like besides this being a project that I want to do myself, the reason I'm streaming it is that I like sharing what I'm doing with others, and I like being able to, share in learning things. How long have I been making games? So I've been working on this project since August. We started doing Godot game devs, like figuring out how to do games in Godot since it's been like almost a year now. Yeah. So we started with like, I think the first one was like a Pong game. I actually have them all on my GitHub at github.com/Sabin. Like if you just search for Godot there's a bunch of like projects for all the stuff I did on stream over the last year. But yeah, prior to that, I put together like some toy games over the years, but nothing really ever like put a ton of time into. Like this last year, I have spent more time doing game dev stuff than ever before. So I've been writing code for, I had to admit earlier in the stream, it's been like 30 years, but a lot of that's been like web dev, and not game dev related, right? You started during the Christmas period. You've gone full deep and surprised how fast you managed to build things. Yeah, I think it can be, as long as you're willing to, if you found the right tools and you're willing to just kind of roll with kind of what you can figure out as you go, you can get a lot done. I think the challenge there is as you move forward, you will likely run into things that you can't figure out how to solve, you might need help with. it's one of those things where you can't give up. Maybe look at something else, or kind of like back burner something for a little bit while you figure some stuff out. But don't give up. Come from a music and building sound systems background. Well, if you're doing game dev, I think that'll be really helpful for either doing a game that's focused on those aspects, or just having those kind of skills as a background. Yeah, art is not really my, and speaking generally, right? So I have some, like, I've played drums and guitar in the past, but it's been quite a while. But like composition, or doing like 2D or 3D art are not really my strong suits, but they're things that I've always had some interest in. And I've done some of that on stream. It's a little awkward to share things that you are not necessarily really good at with others, but just going with it. You've been going back and forth with an LLM, asking questions, just making massive strides. Yeah, I think that could be really helpful. I think there's a danger, of course, of like AI and LLMs can be very confidently wrong sometimes. But I think it's a low risk environment to try things out and see what works, right? So I think that's good. Back to Sapir. You'll have to let me know if you're still around how you like your name pronounced. But to their point, I think we can just remove the Y component of the direction to keep the movement on the horizontal plane, like that comment just says right there. So that will prevent us from, when we panicking up or down.
The winning 5 just followed.
Thank you for the follow. You only play piano. Yeah, you've considered streaming before, but I think, to be honest, I'm shy. Well, I have definitely felt the same way about myself in the past. I think over the years, some of that has been forced to the wayside, and yeah, I don't know. Sorry, thinking about a public speaking class I did forever ago in college and how that went. Saps good or Sapir? Okay, Saps it is. See if I can remember that. Or Sapir. Okay. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna restart the game and see what that looks like. We're gonna go really fast. Get the zombie on screen. Here he comes. All right, so this will happen really quick. He's falling. Oh, and game over. Rest in peace, survivor. Okay, so that worked. Let's put the car's health back to, like, I don't know, 500? 1,000 was a lot. What's the project you're working on now? It's good that you managed to overcome it. Good for you. But well, thank you. It takes time. Yeah, so this game is Nom Defense. It was kind of, we had a set of practice projects for the stream. Let's see if this still loads. Right, so this was the journey, which was to start with a Pong game and then break out Minesweeper. We did a little platformer with like 2D side-scrolling and top-down, kind of like Super Mario World sort of style thing we started into a little bit. Each of these was like, let's do a little bit at a time and figure out key things before moving on. I do have a bigger game project idea that's called, temporary name anyway, Unbounded, which is what some of this stuff down here, some AI generated art, kind of like inspirational. This is solo. You wouldn't necessarily know it from how I go about doing things. I'm so used to working in a team that kind of the GitHub project setup and all of this stuff is more of like something you would expect if you were working on a team. and doing pull requests and those sorts of things. But yeah, it's just me. And so yeah, it's the streamer thing, or where I said we have been working on, you know, me and Twitch chat have been working on these things. So the tower defense game was kind of the last practice project, and it's kind of took on a life of its own because it seemed like there's a good amount of stuff to do. And all these other practice games, we kind of just like they worked, they did the thing, but with the exception of like, I mean, Minesweeper and Pong, there's kind of like okay, well, it's done, right? You can sweep the mines, it's done, right? The other one, like the platformer, was just very bare bones. We didn't do a lot of content. So I decided that for the tower defense one, I wanted to start thinking about like content and levels and do a real full game. Now, I don't know how far I'm going to take that, but essentially the idea is that it is a tower defense game where zombies spawn in. There are survivors. Here's the itch.io page. There are survivors that are pretty much helpless. They run around, but they don't actually flee from danger. You have to protect them by building defenses, so walls and turrets and those sorts of things. And the zombies will both attack the defenses and the survivors and path around to get to the survivors. And so there's just a series of more and more challenging levels, right? Hey, Vivax, hello. Yeah. Let me catch up. I missed a couple of things. You went with the advice from the LLM and went with the build systems, not games approach. Yeah. Yeah, I think that can be helpful if you don't take it too far, right? Although I'm reminded of this is the company that ended up making Slack, and they made something else too, but they were like originally working on a game and they got distracted. They got distracted and made a very successful commercial product. Yeah, I think it should be good. It should be good. And there's a bunch of stuff like features in it, right? So like if we start the game and just redo the level, right? So there's a tech tree already in it. Although the UI here needs some work. This is AI generated UI. And it's not great. But the stuff is there. You can unlock things. Although the things that this unlocks aren't necessarily things that are buildable, although the overcharger is, right? And so we can, if we unpause the game, we can put down an overcharger, except it's broken. Great, we found a bug. You gotta go, time to bathe and put little one to bed. All right, well, thanks for stopping by. And yeah, hope to see you around. Thanks for chatting. Did I miss any other messages? There were a sudden influx a couple minutes ago. I said hello to Vivax, yeah? Hope you're doing well. I was looking through the followers list back a couple weeks ago, and you've been here for quite a while. All right, so do we want to try to fix the bug with the tower? Maybe not now. What do we need to do? So it seems like let's go back to the list of stuff that we're doing here. Doing good, procrastinating work by playing some MTG. Magic the Gathering? Or a different MTG? Yep, okay. I got it. Well, good luck with your procrastinating. Also, well, make survivor fall when car is destroyed. Okay, so we did that. That's done. Let's I see that we're on the main branch. Let's create a branch for this work. So this is issue 242. I think what I've been doing for branches, I've just been calling them like this, and then we can do -2 because apparently I've already had a branch 242. I need to clean up my old branches at some point. All right, and let's commit what we have so far, right? So at the beginning of the stream, we were talking about like how long I've been working on this project, and I was scrolling through the list of all the commits. Well, one of the nice things about having, some commits that keep track of like what we've done is just it's very helpful for understanding the chain of things that we've done, right? Okay, that's not a good message. Add obstacles to the global groups. Okay. I bet AI will be better at summarizing the change to the health component, though. Yep. So add assertions and ensure hit points do not go negative. Because we were saying that, well, part of that was that we did not have behavior hooked on that was going to remove the car from the scene when it hit 0 hit points. That was part of the issue. But really, the health component should ensure that health can't go below 0 just to prevent odd behaviors. What happens here? Oh, we changed some spacing in this file, but I think the main thing was we locked it so that the panic behavior will only move on the XZ plane. Yeah, improve code formatting, ensure horizontal movement during panic. Which is funny when you say it that way. Okay, and then what did we do here? We changed the script. We changed the group that the muscle car was in. We changed the health from 1000 to 500, and we added the signal for the health of the car. Okay, so let's see. Let's do that as one commit. I think it'll be hard to kind of separate those into separate commits because they're kind of all intertwined changes. You probably could, like, you could take this change and this change. Like most of these changes you could split off and just leave the one where it's referring to the new script. Okay, add scenario 1 script, update scene resources, implement car destruction logic, and adjust health values. Okay, that seems reasonable. Okay, and I'll push up that branch. And so this will be the branch that we're actively working on for this issue. Yeah, so continue working on scenario, missing that in. Continue working on scenario 1 is really what we're doing here. So what is this AI summary? Introduces a new scenario 1 to the project. That's not really true. Implements logic for handling the destruction of a car. I think it's kind of premature, honestly, this summary. Working through the list of things in issue number 242. Right, because we're going to continue to, like, we're not done with this. We still have a bunch of things to do. So we will do them. Interesting. Okay, so what do we want to do next? We can add a road, or we can pop open the trunk. How are we going to add a road? Is the road... Is this something that we're going to do? We probably will just do this in Godot, right? Rather than trying to make a... Will it make sense to do a model in Blender for that? Or just do a thing in Godot? Think about that for a second. How complicated is the road going to be? Is this going to be just like... Is it just like a quad that goes across the map? Surely not, right? Maybe it's a quad with some, like, is it... Hold on. Let's look at what we can do in Godot here. think about this for a second. Right, so here's our level. It's great, right? What a level. So basically the 2 strips here are where zombies can spawn, with the idea being that we're gonna do a road. Wait, is that true? Is that what these are? Yeah, these are the spawn surfaces. If that's true, then is the car in the right place? Probably not, right? So I think the idea will be that the road is gonna go through here, and we'll move the car a little bit, and we'll adjust things. But let's see. So, what can we add? What kind of child nodes can we add here? So there's a bunch of stuff in Node 3D. Grid map lets you place meshes on a grid interactively. Oh, for in-game level editor. Interesting. Path follow 3D. Path 3D. Contains a curved 3D path for path follow 3D nodes to follow. Interesting. Marker 3D? Generic 3D position hint for editing. Okay, neat. So here's our custom node entity scrap and our other ones. So there is visual instance. Aha. So what is a decal? Decals are used to project a texture onto a mesh in the scene. Use decals to add detail to a scene without affecting the underlying mesh. They're often used to add weathering to buildings, add dirt or mud to the ground, or add variety to props. Decals can be moved at any time, making them suitable for things like blob shadows or laser sight dots. Interesting. Do we want to make the road this way? Like, does the road need to be a mesh? Maybe not. Let's try to create a decal. I don't know that I've done that before. So what does this say? Decal has no textures loaded into any of its texture properties and therefore will not be visible. Okay, so it has textures. It has albedo, normal, ORM. Form? Setting this texture alone will not result in a visible decal, as texture albedo must be also set to create an ORM only decal. I don't know what ORM is. And emission. So we'll need an image to use as a texture. We have parameters. We have vertical fade. We have distance fade. We have cull mask. We have a size, right? So we can have let's see, can we rotate this way? And do like this? Okay. Really not trying to resize it in that direction, but okay. Let's see. Just want to grab. Okay, let's just do that. Is that the right scale? It's kind of a large, it's a very wide road for what is supposed to be the middle of nowhere. maybe like just like two lanes, one in either direction, with like a little bit of a shoulder. I mean, it's very like the whole thing. This I don't intend for this to ever be like super realistic. You know, I think the word that I use in a bunch of the docs for like the guidelines for like what we're trying to do is kind of lo-fi. So I don't want to make something that's like a photorealistic or, you know, something very detailed at all, which is good because that'd be might be pretty challenging for me to do anyway. Now I don't know what the Y value on this decal is going to do for us, but I'll just make sure it intersects with the ground here. We'll figure out what that does. But I think here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a break here for 3 minutes so Twitch can do its ad thing. We'll have some clips playing in the meantime. And when I come back, we're gonna probably fire up some kind of image editing, maybe Krita, and put together a texture and slap it on this and see what decals do, because I really don't know. I've not had a chance to play with them.